Hello and welcome back to the channel. Today's gonna be a very fun video piece. Right behind me, there's a lot going on. Number one, the setup for the most part is 100% done. Now the thing that I've been talking about a little bit in the past really few weeks is step 2 of germination. Now I haven't talked about it a ton, but today I really just want to dive very deep into this topic, and I really want to take you guys through basically why I'm doing this and just everything behind that choice. So before we do go and start today's video, please subscribe, hit the notification on all so you're not beside video, and please like this video. Let's go start today's video. All right, number one, here is the room. But instead of the last phase of all the plants absolutely thriving, I really want to take you guys to the very beginning when the germination really just starts. So they're going to start in here. Always they're going to start in this room. It is designed for germination in those early few days of the seeds starting to sprout. Now the thing is, when these trays are good, well, just a way to rephrase it is this tray technically needs 2 germination phases. The first one where it's going to grow completely in darkness. When this door is shut, it is very dark in here. You cannot see anything. Now the thing is, it's not smart to bring this tray in and put it immediately on one of these shelves, because the distance between the grow lights and the actual plant itself isn't the best. So I will say the shelves are designed for growth and they're designed for what the purpose is, but the thing is they need that beginning phase. So like these plants are doing great under the light, and I will say they will thrive under these lights. But something to speed up the process and help the plants grow a little bit quicker and a little bit stronger is to bring these grow lights significantly closer to it. Almost just kind of like a giant light beam on top of the plant. Now obviously they're not going to be touching it, but I will say it really just needs a second wave. So technically there needs to be 3 parts of the germination. Starting in the bathroom or germination room, I'm thinking I'm going to put a shelf right here and put grow lights on it. I've actually already placed an order for a ton of grow lights. Hopefully we'll get that by the end of the week. But the reason why I'm saying that is because at the end of the day, I could just use one of these shelves. But at the end of the day, when you think about it, I would much rather just spend a little bit of some extra money to get another shelf in here instead of using up another shelf that could be just growing more basil, growing more oregano, growing even more lettuce for all we know. So that's kind of a big decision in that area. Now I will say these shelves are not cheap. I will say when we're working with 15, 13 plus in here, it does get expensive quick. Now the thing is, maybe one shelf, I can work with that. But the thing is, I have a ton of shelves from projects I've done in the past, from my slime business, from 1.0 in this room, from my Lego business, my Lego investing business, or just a lot of stuff like that. So over time, I've been able to get my hands on many shelves. So these are 4 of shelves. Now what's funny is these shelves are actually from 1.0, which actually used to sit in this exact same spot before the massive upgrade. So what I'm going to be doing is, now the grow lights, I did place an order for that. I'm not going to be able to make them myself, but I will say I'm going to do this today. We're going to do a big time lapse, and the goal today is to just kind of fix them up, bring them significantly closer. Now there were 4 shelves on this. I'm hoping to fit about 5 and kind of cram them a lot closer. Now I'm going to do some measuring in a second to see what's the best, and if I can fit 6, I'm going to fit 6, but we'll just really have to see how it goes. I will say I wish they were slightly taller because that would give a lot more opportunities to grow a lot more. But I think at the end of the day, this is still a shelf and it still does what I needed to do. So I'm just going to work with this, and eventually when I need more space, I will buy one of these shelves and do the upgrade to get it significantly taller. So I will say that's going to be a huge achievement in the room to be able to grow stuff significantly closer. I do feel like that could really help with many things. Another plus is aquaponics. So the aquaponic plants do fantastic in the system. But the problem is, when they're put in this, they're still very small plants, and by the time they touch that nutrients, they're not going to be able to really enjoy all that nutrients. The roots are just going to kind of burn up a little bit because the plant isn't used to just that nutrients. So I will say I'm thinking something that could be very, very beneficial for the plants is when they do come out of the other room and then they go under these grow lights for maybe about a week and then they grow a lot more and then they're putting these pods and immediately put back in here. I'm thinking something that could be very good is the plants still go through that, but instead they're going to grow significantly closer to the grow lights. But once they're ready to go in their pods, I'm going to put them back under the shelves. I'm going to let them grow significantly more. Even though the roots are going to kind of attach to a lot of the other plants, I think it could be significantly better for the aquaponics too, to help speed up the process a little bit, and just to kind of just try to speed it up, I guess. So I will say it will be complicated to kind of figure all that out, but I think once we get the hang of it and start really testing with this a lot more, I think it could be very, very good for this. So that's that. Let's go ahead and start the time lapse on, I guess, destroying a lot more of these shelves and kind of moving them around. All right, for the most part, the shelf is completely done. Check this out. Looks really, really good. I will say some of them in between aren't exactly, well, 10.5. I will say this top one is closer to about 9.5. So that's going to be a little bit of a problem, but I think at the end of the day, it's not going to be anything drastic. So for now, I'm just going to leave it. Now, I will say it doesn't look as good as I thought it would look sitting here. So the thing is, and this won't happen often, but like, for an example, like if people come over or something, check out the room, number one, the second you walk in the room, I want it to be a wow factor. Just the second you set foot in the room, it's just like, whoa, that's just a lot of stuff growing. I just kind of feel like for the idea of just these shelves looking big and looking just like cool, this shelf just doesn't really add to it. I just kind of feel like it just kind of throws it all off. I will say it's not significant, but I will say right now, I'm looking at many spots to put it. Number one, I could put it there. Number two, I could put it right here. But eventually, I'm hoping to have a giant generator and giant battery sitting in here, powering this entire room to be eco-friendly. So I think it just gives me one more option to put it right here. Now, I will say, probably out of almost all the spots in here, this might be one of the best spots. Now, I will say there's a lot of cables and a lot of electrical stuff. And obviously, I would definitely have to scoot this up a few inches. But I think at the end of the day, I think I would rather have this sitting right here than in the front. I just kind of feel like the shelves are big and they look really, really cool. I just kind of feel like it just throws it all off with this giant, bulky, wide shelf sitting right here. Makes it kind of just look like a giant mess of like metal skyscrapers. So I think I might move it around throughout the next few days and kind of just get more comfortable with how it is, because I am used to the setup now. So I think that's kind of a little bit of why I don't really like it there. So I think for now, this is gonna be the end of the video. Now today we didn't really do a lot. Today was just kind of like a maintenance and prepping day. So I will say I'm really, really hoping to get the grow lights in maybe 3-ish days. So we're gonna have to cross our fingers hoping there. And then once we do, we're gonna be immediately building this. I might add fans to this. I don't really know. I'll have to think about that a little bit more. But I think this will be an amazing addition to the room. I definitely think, well, being completely honest, eventually I might take it apart again. I might actually, now that I think about it a little bit more. The thing is, I really want these to be as close as possible. Now, obviously, when the grow lights get too close, it's just going to cook the plants. But let's just imagine this really quickly. So we're gonna put down a tray, and then we got the grow light sitting right here. Now I guess, well, I guess it goes about down here. For like these grow lights, it's gonna go about there. So I guess theoretically, it's probably in a very, very good spot. But I will say, it's certainly gonna be very exciting to have this in here, to be able to put a lot of these new plants, microgreens especially. The microgreens are really gonna fill the shelf up. So a little bit nervous in that factor, but I will say at the end of the day, this will be incredibly awesome to have, especially for like these like bigger plants, especially with like the basil and the oregano and just maybe some of these, just the beginning stages of these incredible plants growing. So I'm very, very excited about that. And we'll just really have to see where we get with this. I did end up ordering some other stuff too. I finally got my hands on more of these trays. Now, just quick story there. I got these about a year and a half ago. And then over time, I guess a lot of companies have just completely stopped producing them. So I was able to find one company. I have hundreds of companies that makes seed trays, seedling germination trays. I could only find one company, which is interesting because these are really, really good trays. So I am very excited about that. I ended up ordering about 20. I really do need to order a lot more of these. Now, luckily, those are mass produced, and I'm really hoping they go on a Black Friday deal. So that's when I'm planning to pick the rest of those up. But the room is coming along very, very well. A lot of stuff is doing well. I definitely think at the end of the day, for the goal of like the aquaponics will be probably the number one factor. And plus about having this, I just really feel like I need to grow them a lot more before they go in this system. Because I mean, check out the root structure. I mean, the plants look pretty good. Roots look fine, but I will say just the roots could look drastically better. So here, imagine this. Look at these plants. A little bit just light shade of green. In that case, a very bright shade of green. And then let's walk over here. This is what the green should be. And technically should be slightly darker. So I think at the end of the day, I really need to just think that through and really decide on what I want to grow. I eventually want to incorporate some maybe like edible flowers, pansies, violas, and sell them to like maybe local bakeries. I stumbled over this really, really beautiful flower, a white and kind of a grayish flower, which could be like really, really good for maybe like a wedding cake or maybe wedding cupcakes or just something that around that area. Definitely many, many ideas, but at the end of the day, I'm looking forward to all of it. And yeah, so I'm gonna have to really think about that, kind of decide on what the room's layout is gonna be, what the main products are gonna be. I think what I'm thinking is just a lot of herbs will grow over here. Each shelf is gonna be designated for one thing and one plant only. So over here, we're gonna be growing many, many things. Now the microgreen section, which will be zone 2, will operate slightly different. I'm thinking like one side will be operating this week and the other side will be ready to be harvested next week. It'll just kind of go back and forth where we have microgreens every single week. Same thing here for like the herb situation. Maybe I might be growing some herbs and a lot of lettuce in this area. I will say I can produce a lot of lettuce in this system. So eventually, if I can produce enough basil with them just growing in those pots, I may just do only lettuce in this and work with that. But I'm very, very excited about that. We also got a brand new addition to the fish tank, if I can even find it. It is that guy. I don't know why this camera makes the fish tank look so much worse. Now, I will say there's definitely algae in it, but it does not look that bad. Yeah, well, I guess you guys can see exactly how the fish tank looks, but that's not great. Maybe I should use this when I am cleaning the fish tank. But he's actually swimming back here. That guy right there looks incredible. If we can go all the way over here. Man, very, very beautiful fish. I'm very, very excited about really all these fish. I am expecting these comments, but I will say I definitely do think the fish tank is a little bit overpopulated, but I will say at the end of the day, before you guys do post or comment on this YouTube channel, we are monitoring the fish all the time. If there's any weird behaviors going on where maybe the fish are being territorial, hurting other fish, we are immediately taking those fish out and putting them into recovery. And at the end of the day, we want the best for the fish, and if there's anything suspicious going on, we will take very, very quick action to get that fixed. But at the end of the day, the fish have done very, very well. I will say the biomass isn't super crazy in this. I will say, obviously, goldfish are the messiest fish, but luckily we do have a very, very powerful biofilter that can handle about 3,000 gallons of water, which is designed for a huge koi pond. So it's definitely able to handle a lot. We're also constantly monitoring the pH of this and also looking at all the nutrient levels and all of that. So at the end of the day, if we ever find anything weird, we will quickly be taking action to fix that. We're also working on a lot of ways to keep it clean too, by automatic feeding 3 times a day and smaller amounts of feeding and more sections. So at the end of the day, they get fed about 5-6 times a day, but it's not a ton. Like let's just click this button so you guys can see how much they get fed. So about 5-6 of those a day. Looks like a lot, but at the end of the day, goldfish do eat a lot, and with how many goldfish are in this tank, they do very, very well and really do love fish food. So, and I will say, the more fish food they do consume, the more waste that gets put in the water, which in most cases is really bad, but for aquaponics, that is the best situation and the best thing we need. I'm done installing now, saying a lot, but at the end of the day, I'm very, very excited with how today went. I'm also looking at getting bulk seeds. That'll be expensive, but at the end of the day, when you're adding up all the ounces, technically the bigger pound, the more pounds you get per seeds, if that makes sense, the bigger bag you get, the cheaper it's gonna be per ounce. So, just for a quick example, let's say this bag costed about $1 per ounce, while it was like $16 to get. Well, this was about $52 to get, but per ounce, it's technically about 25 cents. Now, I did make up all those numbers, so those numbers are gonna be very off, but I will say at the end of the day, you kind of get it. The bigger the bag, the more expensive, obviously, it's gonna be, but per ounce, technically, I'm saving a lot of money. So, I think that's always a plus. Plus, the more I can bring down operating costs, the cheaper I can give the products to the customers, which is always a huge plus for just a local farm. So at the end of the day, this is doing great. Another thing that I'm very excited about is we're gonna start looking at possibly recycling our water. Now, what that means is we just kind of take it out by a dehumidifier. We dump it into a filtration system. Now, I will say that if you're just, however you're recycling your water, you can just maybe drip trace by irrigation or something like that. Another way is a dehumidifier, which is a great way, but I will say it also takes like mold, carbon and stuff in the air and puts it into the water. So at the end of the day, just keep that in mind. You want to consider to filter that water very, very well. At the end of the day, if you're just dumping that water directly back into the plants, it is not going to be great for the plants. It is not going to be great for eating. I will say we're also going to be doing a lot of testing with water percentages, and if they don't come back right, we're just going to dump out the water and just kind of keep the nutrients, or just kind of keep the operation right now. But we're going to do a lot of things with this. I'm very, very excited about that. As always, sadly, this is going to be the end of the video. So, as always, if you guys do like these types of videos, please subscribe, hit the notification on all so you're not missing a video, and please like this video. Thank you guys so incredibly much for watching today's video, and especially supporting the channel. And I'll see you guys when we post next. Peace.